Welcome back to Farming Simulator 2019, and it's a nice sunny day on the farm. Good, we've got things going, and what have I done? Well, I did quite well. So I bought the second parcel of land. So the parcel of land to our left, if we just go to lands, all that land is now mine as well, and I then planted the field. I then forgot that I may need to plough said field before I planted said field, so it's probably going to be a bad harvest the first time round, but then we'll go through and plough it. No need to worry. However, over here on our normal field, I've gone through about 3 or 4 harvests. And now this has now changed to say needs lime, if you can see that very bottom right of the screen. So we are going to get a harvest, but it's asking us to basically put lime on the field. It's different to fertilizer, and unfortunately for me anyway, this will not spread lime. I would like if it did, but it can't. So we're going to head back to the store. We've got 133 grand, so I should have enough to go and replace this. However, the replacement is not anywhere near as good in terms of width. It's only 12 meters instead of 24, which is what this does. So if you wanted fertilizer, well, maybe I'll rebuy this later, but I just want to get some money back for it because we want to you know, keep our total amount of money quite high, at least for the moment. So head into the store and we can buy lime in the big bags, stuff like we can get before. That's no problem at all, but we do need the spreader itself. Now we should be able to switch backwards and forwards between lime and fertilizer, so we shouldn't need to keep this one for fertilizer and another one for lime. Hopefully we should be able to switch between the two. So let's first of all, I can't seem to, well, I can unload it, but probably onto the ground, and I don't necessarily want to unload it onto the ground. And I can't find another tank, so first thing I'm going to do is go and buy the other one. So let's just go, and where are you? You're in fertilizer technology. There we go, at the bottom. So here we go. There's 2 versions, slightly bigger tank. That's about the only difference, and it's about 27 grand. So I think I'm going to go for the cheap one. Extension. Ooh, what we got here? Small extension. And what does that actually do for us? Well, it enables the cover, I suppose. And does it just change the capacity? I mean, it's very cheap. Yeah, it changes the capacity. Okay, so if we go to the big extension, because does that need increased horsepower though? Or does it have any difference in that? Doesn't look like it, so that looks good. Spreader system. Okay, so we can go for we can pay an extra 8 grand for a spreader unit, but we'll come back and customize that later, I think. So we can actually change to have this be a wider fit, presumably. Okay, spreading discs, then that will do. Wheels. Narrow tires, I guess that will not stop us from destroying any crops. So we will go ahead and buy that. That's 40 grand, unfortunately. Yes. And here it is. It's huge. Okay, and it should fling the fertilizer, well, the lime out of the back. Can I then use this one to unload into the other one? I'll move away from everything else. And switch cameras. Can I actually do that? I don't think I can. It says unload, but I think that's just going to unload onto the floor. Let me try. Ah, no, it's pretty good. If you press unload, it will unload into a new pallet on the floor. That's good. Which means I can get rid of all of this stuff and I don't lose it, which is important. Oh, actually, did it unload into that? Assume it did. All right, then let's go and drop this off. And get some money back. Let's get you out of there. How much do we get back? R. We get 17 grand back. Okay, that's half back, I guess. Then I'm gonna sell it. So yeah, we're 23 grand down, but we've now got something that can take care of lime. So let's go and hook up to our new spreader. And let's see if we can actually change this for lime. I was considering also going to my steering wheel. I've not hooked it up at the moment. It's more flexible for me while I'm recording to use keyboard, but it is still an option. Yeah, this is actually empty, so that's fine. Let's close the cover. And we're going to go and refill it from over here, where I've got at least one bag of lime. It's probably not going to be enough. Can I refill it from here? Just turn on, but I don't want to turn it on. I want to refill it. Ah, there we go. Refill fertilizer spreader. And that should be filling with lime. Yes, it is. It's down at the bottom right of the screen. And I'm not sure how long that's going to last. Or at least how full. Oh, that's not much at all. Yeah, we're going to have to buy more lime. At least I think I'm going to have to buy more lime. We may as well. I'm going to fill it about half full. And let's see if that will actually do that. Okay, there should be 3 now, so I can refill. And we should have a couple more over there. Yes, we do, so we can go and refill those as well. And I'll see you back at the farm. And here we are, using up the lime. Now, I did buy 8,000 of it, but it's only just covered about, I'd say 60% of the field. So I think we're going to actually need more lime to actually cover this entire field, but it is actually fine. If we look on the map over here, the helper isn't particularly great at covering the edges, particularly not because this area up here is inclined, it's a hill. So we will do a sort of header row once it's finished, just to cover it off and everything like that, and make sure everything is fine. And that tiny little spot there that says needs ploughing, that's the red colour, that's really annoying me. So I will go and grab the plough the next time we come through for a harvest. And we're going to need to plough this field anyway, and the plough is tiny. So yeah, the worker sometimes has problems. Yeah, speaking of the plough, what would it actually take to get a larger plough? We could lease one, I suppose, but that's not terribly effective. 2 meters, 2.5 meters, 5 meters, but that needs 240 horsepower. 6 meters, that needs 360 horsepower. Yes, yeah. We're stuck with the small one for the moment, which is 85 horsepower. It's only 2 meters wide. It will take a long, long time to actually get through that field. But it needs it, so that's one of the things that needs going. And I'm almost to the point, after I get perhaps another couple of harvests in, thinking about getting a second tractor here, because it's fine to keep them as is until you get to the point where you need multiple machines running at once. I'm already sort of at that point, because over here I've got this trailer and I've hooked it up to the pickup truck. It works fine. This pickup truck will pull that trailer. In fact, the Mahindra little utility vehicle apparently will pull these as well. So yeah, we should be able to get away with that. The harvester is of course fine, but even so, now that we've got 2 fields, it'd be nice to be able to, for example, have the plough running on one if we need it, and lime running on the other, fertilizer, etc. At least 2 tractors would be good. I'm just not going to buy one right now because it might be better if we get an actual upgraded one. Looking at the tractors again, the one I sort of rejected at the start of the game was this one, this little Fiat, but it is 150 horsepower, so unlike, it's actually quite a lot more than all the rest in here. Even though it's the cheapest, it's just sort of slow. It's 25 kilometers per hour. The Voltra is 40. The Fendt we're on at the moment is 50. So yeah, it's slow but powerful. Fine, no problem. And where are you going? Where are you going? Nope, go away. It's still got line left. Has it actually completely covered the field though? Let's have a look. Nearly. And there's another little corner that needs ploughing. So I need to just finish that up and we should be golden. And of course, don't forget to fill up with petrol every so often. at a petrol station, or gas station if you're American. Either way. Petrol! Okay, good. Definitely don't want to run out of fuel while trying to drive this thing around. And it's now very, very early morning. It's 4 AM in the morning, 4:40. And we've got our helper out there weeding. Now, previously I used the sprayer. And I was having problems with this because it didn't really show me the weeds, or I couldn't get rid of them. So the rules seem to be, if it's in the first stage like this, which is very, very early, or this is like maybe the second stage, but if it's quite early, you can use a weeder. So you'll see it says weed 0. And if we just get ahead of this before it moves, you'll see up over here it's weed 100%. But the longer you leave it, the less likely you are able to use the weeder, and then you'll have to spend money up essentially to refill the sprayer. But otherwise, your helper will get rid of the weeds for you, but only when you get to this point. Now, it doesn't... Maybe I'm missing it, but I thought that the weeds were supposed to be visible. I can't see any. Am I blind? Because it looks identical over here. Yeah, it looks identical over here to over here. So I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a visual effect, or if that only comes about once it actually the weeds mature and you have to spray. Either way, yeah, it works. Just watch out for when you actually have weeds. And then, of course, well, we'll need to de-weed that huge field as well. But the helper will be able to do that just fine. And here's the point where I think I actually want a second tractor now. I know I said earlier that I didn't want one, but what else could I... Well, it depends. What else could I actually be doing right now? I could be fertilizing again. Yeah, that's going to need me to switch over this, but then I could actually have... Yeah, so instead of going for a larger tractor, can we buy another Fendt? 76,000 out of 100 and... What have we got? 105? And that leaves 30 grand, but that should be more than enough to be able to be able to get going. So, do we want anything else? This one actually be able to tractor front loader, makes it more flexible. The only other ones we'd be getting were the previous ones we looked at anyway. So, yeah. Or we could get this, which is slow. That's a good option, actually. It's slow, but at the same time, it's very... It can pull more weight, essentially. It's got more horsepower. It's terrible, but it saves me... It saves me 17,000. I think I'm going to take this terrible, terrible thing. Although, does it have thin tires? It does have thin tires, because we don't want any crop destruction going on. So we're going to buy it. It's terrible. But we are going to be able to go and fetch it from the store. And let's head down to the store. There we go. We can tab through the vehicles. And look at it. It's certainly a tractor. All right, let's see what it's like to drive. Let's turn on the engine. And what do we have in the way of lights? Just forward and back. There's no wide beams, but that's okay. And let's see how fast this is. I'm fully expecting this to feel quite slow. And it does, by comparison. But once things are on the field, I don't care about the speed, the top speed so much. Wow, is it just deciding to be a traffic jam today, this morning? Is everyone on the way to work at 4:43 AM? Okay, back to the farm. And as before, the AI in this game isn't terribly great yet, so we'll wait for Courseplay. Courseplay is much, much better. It's being worked on, by the way. Yeah, it's not available yet. But yeah, your worker decides, I'm just going to want to weed all the grass as well, and everything else. It tries to go all the way back there towards the farm, all the way to the end of the land, and keep going. Of course, now that the weeder is protruding onto the next field, I would just wonder whether it's actually going to decide it needs to weed the next field as well. Let's see what it does when it gets to the end. Are you going to finish? In this case, that's not too bad. But I guess it depends. Are you going to turn around? Are you deciding what to do? Oh, yeah, it's going to automatically go on to the next field. That's not actually too bad in this case where I own the next field. If I didn't own this field, I'd be more of an issue, but it's okay for now. So we can leave that alone. And here's our new tractor. Yeah. Here it is. Oh, it's a little bit dark at the moment. But in fact, let me just... do I want to fast forward a little bit? Maybe until the sun comes up a little bit, I'll bring up the speed. Yes, so we're going to want to then go and connect to this. There we go. And we can then spread lime everywhere, which is exactly not what we want to do. We want to spread fertilizer. So I'm going to try and dump this somewhere where it won't interfere with anything. Let's just say here in the yard for now, or at least, yeah, let's try it here in the yard. And let's see if I can unload without it causing too much of an issue. So press I and it unloads them all. And we're empty. Good. So now I need to go back to the store and go and pick up the other fertilizer, and then we should be able to fertilize the rest of the thing. And everything's getting a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to slow everything back down again. It's now 6:30 a.m. and we're ready to begin a new day. Of course, I'm still going to do most of that off camera because, you know, if you've seen one thing, you've seen it all, so I don't want to do too much repetitive work on camera. So off to pick up the... Oh, this is so slow. I almost want to go and get a low loader. In fact, there are mods that are now loaded that were released by Giants themselves over the first week. And that includes new flatbeds. That was a problem I was having originally. There's only that tiny little flatbed to actually load stuff onto. So, yeah, I mean, I sort of want to consider using other sort of wagons or trucks to get stuff up to the farm. I'd prefer a placeable... in the base game that I could just load stuff into on the farm, rather than, you know, like a grain silo, but for fertilizer and lime and everything else. But I don't see any of that yet. So let's just get over here and we can refill it, hopefully. Yeah, that's now with fertilizer. It's going to fill up everything it can. Probably going to have to go and get some more of that. Here we go. And it should hold quite a lot. So, yeah, back to the farm. And unfortunately, even waiting that short amount of time has taken us to the point where the weeds can't be removed again. Really kind of short by comparison to everything else. I mean, I know I fast forwarded a couple of hours, but it was just a couple of hours. So, yeah, you don't get much time at all before you get forced into using the spreader. However, the spreader, despite you having to spend money on it, it actually is got a much wider spray area, so that is actually not terrible. And you know, we'll get it going that way. So let's start spreading it out, and you'll see our other tractor, a new one over there, actually fertilizing. So we can get both of them going at once, hopefully. And let's get you roughly lined up. It's maybe a little bit far off. Let's just back up a little bit. I don't mind it going over the edge of the field a little bit, but I don't want to have to make another run because we miss it. Wow, that's a little bit that's really accurate, but a little bit too close for me. Yeah, let's just get you to here, and then the helper should be able to do it from here on out. Okay, and off you go. Yeah, it's still saying needs plowing, of course. We've still got 36 grand, but it cost me about 8 grand for the new sort of fertilizer, which is approaching the two playing chicken with each other. Hopefully they'll be fine. Let's just see what this is now. Yeah, they always miss that one spot right there in the middle. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's probably the bushes at the top end. I'm actually going to take over from the worker now, and I'm just going to head back up the middle and hope we get... Well, it's about the middle, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see if we can get that spot without too much of an issue. And we shouldn't get any crop disruption because of the wheels. So let's... are we online with it? Maybe a bit to our right. Okay, I'm going to turn the sprayer back on. And let's hope we get it this time. And... off. Yes, we did. It could do with a slight thing around the edges. I want to wait for course play because I want to be able to, say, run a header row all the way around a couple of times first before going up and down. It's only really baling where baling like grass. I don't normally do that. Now, I did do grass in 17. That was a really good money earner in 17. But in 19, it's sort of no better or worse than other things, really. It's not a clear winner like it was in 17. The one, you don't have a barn on your farm to sell it, but also its price is just as, you know, sort of middling average as the rest of them. And it's sort of up to you what you want to do. There is still a clear winner in price for... I did take a look at someone on Reddit posted a really good explanation of various prices and of buying and selling. And one of the things on there was corn chaff or corn silage, but that takes a lot of fuss. You have to, you know, be able to chaff the corn first of all. Let's just drop you, and then you have to be able to collect it, put it in silage bins, etc., etc. That will be much more beneficial once we have coarse play. Now the difference is in 19 you can actually put, or at least I'm not sure. I don't think I saw this in 17, but in 19 you can put silage bays on your farm itself, so you can put placeables. They're over in the store. Placeables. Is it in silos? Yeah. So we have a hay loft, so you can store straw in your property, but it's not like a cell area as far as I know. But you can create bunkers, and this is for corn chaff, and we should be able to basically turn it into silage then. And the first one isn't all that expensive, but it is quite small. Does it tell me how large it is? Well, we could put it anywhere really on our property, but that's fine. But then you'd have to collect the straw. You'd the chaff. Sorry, you'd have to chaff it first, which is a particular machine. Then you'd have to drop it in the bunker, create silage by basically tamping it down, and then you'd have to go and sell it. But it is much more expensive to, well, it's a much better profit if you can actually sell it, but that's up to you entirely. So that's a good clear winner. We'll get to that probably later at some point. I just want to get to the harvest for this crop, and then we'll have to get on to ploughing the other field. How are you doing? You're getting rid of the weeds just fine. How's my supply of of my herbicide? It's not too bad. It should be enough to complete the field with, and that's more important than anything else right now. And what else have we got left to actually do? This is fully fertilized now, so the fertilizer needs to go onto this next field, so I need to go and actually reattach that. Start the engine, and we'll start up getting the fertilizer on the other field. Other than that, we're just waiting for harvest now. And it's harvest time again. And just to reiterate, the reason I'm not dropping straw, I mean, I could just... can we dismiss the... I need to dismiss the worker to actually do that. In fact, yeah, let's just do that for a second. And let me just see if this actually will enable straw. Straw is not available for current fruit type. Yeah. Okay, so it won't work for soybean. It would need to be wheat or barley or something along those lines. That's fine, as long as I know that I won't get straw unless I replant with something else next time. It's straightforward to replant, but the advantage of soybean, among other things, is that it doesn't require us to plough, I don't think. Other than the field over there needing ploughing the first time because we just bought it, which I forgot to do. My fault entirely. After that point, hopefully it doesn't require us to replough. Of course, we do still need to apply lime and fertilizer and everything else, but it just allows us to get started with something that is simultaneously easy to start off with, but also we can just fit quite a lot in our starting trailers, which don't really have a lot of room whatsoever. So on with the harvest, and we'll see how much it brings in. Typically, by the way, it brings in around 10 grand for this first field, which is tiny if we have a look at it on the map. It's, you know, just horrible. I mean, there's very few fields that are that small. 29 is, and maybe 28. Not that I particularly want them. In fact, how much are they? They're not even on the same plot of land. And they're like 100, 129 grand each. Yeah. I think I'd prefer like a larger field. 18 would be 180 grand, but again, that's in line with all the rest. It'd be nice to expand that way. 17 is 261 grand. That's 400. And then what's the largest field on here? 12 maybe? Yeah, that's 500,000. Okay. So we're okay for now. And we'll see where we get to on here. That harvester seems to be having fun getting... Yeah, it's it's causing traffic jams all over the place. Again, I think I'm going to try and cut this forest down. I just don't have any equipment to cart the logs away and chop them up and everything else. We could probably buy a tool from the store. I could probably buy a... Is it in here? Tools? Something like that. Miscellaneous. Chainsaws. Yeah, I'm going to chainsaw. They're all the same price at the end of the day, so it's whichever one you want, I guess. Yeah, so why don't we just go for this one? And I can change to a chainsaw. And we can turn it sideways and then cut the tree down. That's easy enough. But the main problem is that I cannot haul it away. At least not without some gear. I could lease it, but for now it's fine. Bear in mind that you can actually pick up, well, maybe not, it's been a little bit too heavy. Yeah, it's too heavy. But you can actually pick up these. There's deadfall in the trees, and you use that to clean up your space. We should be able to get rid of these bushes here by plow, maybe. I'm going to try that. That will create new fields, of course, but then maybe get a roller. So the roller, is it in Misk? Yeah, Meadow Roller. It's 16 grand, but we can probably... What does it cost to actually lease it? Leasing costs will be like 1,300, and it then creates meadows behind it, so you can just clean up, yeah, restore the initial ground state, delete fields, and that would be quite good. Trailer with a 3-point hitch for tractors without one. Good. And a liquid transporter. I guess we could transport the fertilizer... or the herbicide from the store with that. Doesn't particularly tell me what capacity it is. No capacity. Yeah, well, it's going to be bigger than the store, but stuff. So I guess that's an alternative for the liquid stuff. Is there anything else we can buy for this solid stuff? Maybe an auger wagon? Seed runner? Yeah, that'll contain seeds. Also known as chaser bins are trailers that have their own screw conveyor. You can use them to store your crop and directly unload it into other trailers. And it's only 20 grand, so that's quite good. So we can go and fill up at the store with that. Am I in the way for the... No, I'm not in the way. Okay. We can fill up at the store with that, and then we can bring it back here, but that's for seed. But you see that icon at the end also means fertilizer. So we can actually use that to move the fertilizer out to the farm. And if they're only 20 grand each, then we could buy a couple of those and just have whatever seeds we want from the shop without going anywhere. But that's before we actually get... I'd still prefer a placeable. Is there not something we can actually get that lets us do that? We've got water. We've got, for wood chips, logs, etc. Power washer, which is nice, but not very useful. We've got the horse paddocks. Well, maybe we should get into horses fairly soon. Apparently they're quite good in terms of money. Decorations. The sandcastles apparently let us basically create paths. And let me just try that. Once you remove them again, that is. Can we... where do we actually want a path? So let's see over near our little doghouse. Can I rotate this? Rotate camera. There we go. Can we put a sandcastle right there? Yeah, look at that. It creates sand. More importantly, that will create essentially an area that changes the texture of the ground. Not easy to get that perfect, mind you, but they're very, very cheap to buy. But we do actually then need to remove it again. Can we? Well, hopefully we can remove it again. So if we go here, pallet fork. No, let's go and see if we can actually sell those sandcastles again. Okay, here we go. So this is what happens when you take the buildings away again, the sandcastles. That gives you the ability to place down sand texture anywhere you like. You need the roller to actually bring it back though. And if you don't know how to sell buildings you own, just go press P to go to the store, go to the garage by pressing backspace, and then you can scroll through anything you like, and you can sell it from here. Now, in the previous games, I've not tried it in this one, but in the previous games, what didn't give you as much money by selling it through here as actually selling it back to the store. So if it's mobile, you may want to pick it up and take it back. But if it's not, then you can sell it through here, etc. And that's perfectly fine. And yeah, our dog is... Oh, would you ride? Okay, right, onto the harvest, and the harvest is still going out there. Again, should be about 10 grand for this field, but I want to see how much that other field brings in. Okay, so we're going to sell the first field's worth of soybean first at the train station mill. It's quite far down on the map. If you just have a look on the map, very bottom right, and it happens to be a high cost at the moment, a high price at the moment, 1,746 per 1,000 litre. So we can then unload. So we're at 34,157, and we should get about 10, maybe a bit more if the prices are high. But let's see what this is going to add to. Yeah, so 45, so 11 grand. Fair enough. And let's see what the second field gives us. And while I'm on the way back, just back to the farm that is, I just want to discuss one other thing, the difficulty level. Remember when I said there was 3 difficulty levels, like there's the equivalent of an easy, medium, and hard? Well, there's no independent difference between whether you start with the farm and all its equipment, or you start with no equipment. It's just built into the easy, medium, and hard modes. So what I'd recommend is if you want an easier time and more money, go with the easy mode, the one that gives you all the stuff to start off with, and then sell all your buildings and sell all your equipment, sell everything using the store menu. You'll get an easy difficulty, meaning that you will have more better prices for all your crops, but you will then be back to essentially the same as the medium in terms of having no farm to start with, and then you'll have to spend money again. If you do that, you should end up with closer to, like, I assume 1.5 million or so. I think I will try it just after I finish this harvest, just to see what you'll actually start out with if you decide to do that approach, because that's a decent approach to take as well, because you don't want to grind all the time. You may want an easier time of it to get more expansion going. So our harvest is already running over there. And as you can see, it's up to 1,000. So if this is, what, a tenth of the field, maybe we'll get about 10,000 crops. I'm not sure if it's going to fit in that single trailer, but we'll see about how well that does. And we've already got our new tractor just seeding. And that means, I don't think that's going to be, let's have a look at the map. What's that? What's that line? Oh, actually, I think what that is I drove onto the, I drove onto the field when it still had crops on it with my pickup truck. And pickup trucks, you need to make sure if you're going to do that, make sure you drive onto it when it's like that, not when it's like that. Especially if you have crop destruction on. Yeah, so this is not fertilized at the moment, which is good, because I can then set up another tractor to go and fertilize it. Or to get it to, stage 1. There we go. And our fertilizer's right here. There we go. We don't need to plow this one, remember, and we have already deployed lime, so I don't need to do anything other than that. What I may want to do is actually give that seeder a little bit more time, however, because this will catch it pretty fast. It's just a much faster process than seeding. At least until we get larger seeding equipment that has fertilizer built in. That is an option as well. And the harvest nearly done in the second field. We've got our trailer behind us. It's full, so we'll see how much we get for this. Excuse me, there we go. And let's just make sure we're okay. Yep. And there's probably maybe a fifth of whatever we're going to get still in the harvester. So let's give that a go. And we'll see what we get for a full load this time. That's going up quite nicely. 60 grand. So we get 18,000, well, nearly 19,000 for a full load. Pretty good. We should get, as I said, about a fifth of that again. So probably another 3 grand or so on top, which means the harvest for that second field is around 21 grand there or so. I'll go and pick up the rest of that, and let's just verify that's exactly what we got. And trailer 2, dumping off at the train mill here. And that's 66. So we get another 4,400. Good. So what's that in total then? If we have a look at our finances page, here we go. So yeah, we let's see. Today we paid 70 grand out for new materials with all new vehicles. That also I think includes various other bits and pieces that we buy, not necessarily just vehicles. Things like, for example, seed and stuff like that seems to come out of the new vehicles tab for some reason. Yeah, it all seems to become at the top. We've made 34 grand in harvest income, so if we do another harvest, we should make enough to basically counteract that new tractor, which is pretty good, you know. And then wage payment is around 3,500 because we just got so much more fields to cover. All right, I quite like that. So a couple of harvests to get me a new tractor, that's fine. I guess we could get a third one, but I don't think it's needed right now. We actually just want what we have for making sure we can keep multiple things going. And then that's the case already. Back on the field, the plow is running right now. The harvester is finished, and then we can follow up the plow with the seeder on the other tractor once the plow gets far enough ahead. It's a little bit slow and not very wide, so you know it takes a little bit of time to actually get back. Anyway, we got a second harvest done, or at least a second harvest on camera. I did a couple more on that first field, remember? And remember, this amount that we've got today has been with one of the larger of the two fields needing ploughing. And you do get a bonus, I think, if you do plough it. So I'll probably tell you on the next episode what that was. I probably won't show it on camera, but I will, you know, at least give you a comparison for what we actually get once we get this going. Just overtaking all these really slow cars with a pickup truck and a giant trailer on the back. Not that we do that in real life, but it seems fine in Farming Simulator. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. We've got an expansion going, and we will probably get maybe even another field. It depends on how fast we can earn more money at this particular point. And we'll see what that entails next episode. Until then, hope you've enjoyed, and feel free to like, subscribe, share if you have. Follow me on Twitter at Greyduster, or indeed, you know, you can subscribe below. Either way, we'll get you notifications if you click the bell in YouTube. Otherwise, you know, Twitter will just tell you, unlike YouTube's weird policy. And then we'll see you for some more Farming Simulator. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and feel free to check out the other games on the channel, including Stoneblock. We've got Ultimate Alchemy, and we've got X3 Terror and Conflict going all at the same time until X4 Foundations is out at the end of the month, which I will definitely be getting. So that's next week, next week-ish. Yeah, I want to say on Friday, so probably 6 days away from this video when I'm recording. Probably about 5 days away from when you watch it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you next time.